basically, I was discussing with a friend these verses in 1 John. It's 5:16, 17, 18, basically up to 17, pertaining to the sin that leads to death. And I sort of meandered on the topic until I found a center of gravity dealing with the soda war of life, pertaining to a lot of recent events. I sort of think that life is kind of a soda war. I think about the Chinese virus, everything. It creates sort of a Chinese invasion of regulatory policies and so forth, dealing with health and so forth. Some call it like Winko communism, but I wouldn't go that far yet. Obviously, we have a democracy, like Chinese democracies, but we have obviously our form of government still remains. So anyway, so these verses basically say, starting from verse 16, if anyone sees his brother committing a sin not leading to death, he shall ask, and God will, for him, give life to those who commit sin not leading to death. There's a sin leading to death. I do not say that he should make requests for this. All unrighteousness is sin, and there is a sin not leading to death. Okay, so John makes the distinction there. There's a sin leading to death. There's a sin not leading to death, basically involved in the people that he's speaking with. And I've heard it said from brother that perhaps he is talking about a sin pertaining only to the first century. Some people think is connected with blasphemy, Holy Spirit, that idea. Essentially, a lot of people believe that to be, or think that to be pertaining to rejecting Jesus, rejecting Christ, rejecting the salvation offered through Jesus, basically. But the sin leading to death, using common sense, could be just simply doing something that leads to your own death. Typically, that's stupidity. For example, the example that I gave to my friend was, let's say there's a man who's very certain of his salvation, etc., and he happens to one day or one night drink too much soda and has a heart attack and dies from it, or his body just gives out. Maybe he's older, his body gives out. That appears to be a sin that led to death for him. So if we take that versus meaning eternal damnation, then he's gone to hell. If he had assurance of salvation and stuff, a lot of people will feel their doctrine shaken if they think in the Calvinist way, perseverance of the saints, etc., but they're very certain of their salvation. Ultimately, we know that God's in control of everything. So it is even God that regulates the condition of our heart, etc. So, and let me address this topic doctrinally first. We have to address divine election and that doctrine. The elect are foreknown before the foundation of the world, and those are the ones that are saved, eventually go to heaven. They're foreknown. They're in God's hands. Everything works for good for them, and they go to heaven. It's predestined the whole way through. And I caution people strongly, it doesn't mean you're responsible for your own actions. Man has a certain degree of, people will kill me for saying free will at this point. We have a certain degree of choice or volition. Okay, so to say there's a sin that leads to death doesn't undermine divine election, because it's all in God's hands anyway. He wouldn't cause a sin that leads to death for someone elect, and they wouldn't go to the hot place. If someone had a sin that led to death and they thought that they were saved, they were just self-deluded or deceived. It is possible. It is possible. That's very sad. I admit it's very sad. Very sad indeed. Anyway, but pertaining again to soda, it's okay to drink soda. I'd be departing from orthodoxy to tell you it's not okay to drink soda. That's ridiculous. Just don't be stupid with things. And anything could be overdone. Like you could eat too much meat, too much sugar. It's possible to overdo anything. So I don't know why people, for example, yeah, I know why, but yeah, the soda taxes in certain localities are ridiculous. They're taxing sugary beverages in certain cities. It's a very liberal policy. I don't stand behind the soda tax. So I see the slowly encroaching war on soda, against soda, um, in that capacity. And I can see it, happening where society would get rid of soda, it would get too legalistic. I don't think people should do that. I would say even Coca-Cola, the soda Coke was created by God almost even, by God's sovereignty almost. Coke is helpful to people who are poor and hungry because it replenishes sugar in their body when they're starving. So, and Coke of course has a secret ingredient. Um, in the plain version of Coke, there's actually no preservatives. I don't think it's actually a very okay beverage to drink. It's not too much, probably. Yeah, like I said, you don't want to have a heart attack too much. So, I would say soda's okay, but don't be stupid. Don't overdo things. That's probably a better way to live life. Overeating is even a sin. So there you have it. In one view, a lifestyle of sin where you're overdoing something. We're not supposed to be in a lifestyle of sin. A lifestyle of sin is hellbound conduct. So we're not supposed to overdo things and be a lifestyle of sin. I've probably repetitively said it over and over again. Anyway, just to close up here, no one should outlaw soda. Outlawing soda is ridiculous. Don't outlaw soda. Don't completely make soda obsolete in society. Don't completely get rid of it. That's being stupid. Soda is somewhat beneficial, like I said, if you're starving, you need to replenish your sugars. I think it's fine. Overdoing something is bad. This was not supposed to be a complete Bible study of those verses, but it would work for a quick, somewhat quick take on the matter. We don't just depart from sound doctrine just due to one fleeting view eisegeting a verse. We don't do that. So, also, the soda war pertaining to the coronavirus. If our society is invaded with Far East regulatory practices, the question is, will people still go to their same? So I still go to my same soda. That's just how it is. But, everyone have a good one then.